All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to your Thursday night episode of Unscripted, live here on Facebook at Unscripted. We are also live on the All Sports, All Plays Network over on Facebook and YouTube. Please go check them out for some amazing live sports content. I'm your producer and host this evening, Logan Landers, and joining me is my regular cast and crew. First off, we have Jay McLovin. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, I'm doing well. Just glad to have my boy Philly sports guy on here.
Yes, sir. Of course, the other one, Frankie C, who's got his face missing right now, but we know he's still beautiful. What's going on, Frankie?
Hey, what's going on? I'm here. I just had to cover my face because, like Jay said, we got Philly sports guy here, and I got a surprise for him because it's my team versus Philly tonight, baby. Let's go, Lakers! Yeah!
And our main event, our special guest tonight, recently featured on ESPN, the Philly sports guy. What's going on, man?
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure. You can check us out Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Saturdays at 8. Come watch the show, like, comment, share, subscribe. We look at all the comments and bring them up on the screen. So if you got something to say, put it there and we will talk about it. But let's get into it with our first topic tonight, gentlemen. NFL, the conference round. It's coming up this Sunday. We have a good matchup between the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Rams and the 49ers. Let's start off with the Chiefs and the Bengals first. Jay, give me your opinions. And who do you think will win and advance to the Super Bowl in the AFC?
All right, so Chiefs Bengals. I mean, what a hell of a matchup. We talk about the Chiefs and what they in the Buffalo Bills and what they went through, and this was just a shootout of who wanted it the most, and honestly, whose defense could stay the most energized. Because I really think the Buffalo Bills defense really took a lot of a beating on that last drive. It was 13 seconds, but it was also a great offensive scheme by Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and how well they communicate and play together. On the flip side of the ball, and you got the Bengals. Who did the Bengals play? I forgot who they played. They played the Ravens. No, they played the
Titans.
Yes, thank you, the Titans. I don't know why. And I think
how good the Titans play, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, and it's true though. I think Ryan Tannehill with his 3 interceptions. I don't think Tennessee's running game showed up. Their defense obviously showed. They sacked Burrow like 9 times, and I'm surprised he even made it off the field. But he still came away with the win. And when you got Joe Cool playing that well at such a young age, his ceiling is like John Morant with the Memphis Grizzlies. That ceiling is high. I mean, it's like really high. And so I look at these Bengals who have been battle tested as well, have a quarterback who knows how to play the game at a very young age and is still growing and still learning. Going up against Patrick Mahomes, who honestly he just came in the league in 2018 and he has a Super Bowl, and so his ceiling and what he can do is also very high. Both of them are coming off great wins, great playoffs, and I honestly, and this is going to be in Chiefs territory, but I really like Joe Cool. I like Joe Cool. I like the whole Jamar Chase thing. I like their defense, and I like what they can do against the run. And let's be honest, the Chiefs have a decent run game, but I don't think they're as good as Joe Mixon. I don't think so. I don't think they have as good a game because what Joe Mixon could do in terms of running and catching, he's almost like an Alvin Kamara. I'm going to go Bengals this round.
All right. Good pick there. Frankie, we'll have you up next. Who do you got going, the Chiefs or the Bengals to the Super Bowl?
Listen, I always love to see Cinderella stories go on, and I'm just sick of seeing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs go on and make it to the Super Bowl. They've been there the last 2 years. I want to see something new. And I have so much faith that Joe Burrow and the Bengals can do it. They have the perfect weapons. They have the perfect defense. And like Jay said, they have the perfect running game in Joe Mixon. What scares me the most is that offensive line. That offensive line isn't looking good. Giving up 9 sacks last week against Tennessee, it just shows that they need to fix that offensive line. And if they can fix that offensive line, then there's no doubt about it that they can go into Arrowhead and surprisingly beat Kansas City and move on to the Super Bowl, which is what I'm really predicting and hoping that happens. So I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one. So let's not be surprised.
All right. Philly sports guy, who you got?
I'd love to say that the Bengals are going to do it. I have been a fan of Joe Burrow since the Eagles played him last year, and he got sacked 8 times, kept getting up and just brushing it off and keep going at us. And actually, they played to a tie last year. Oh, yeah. So, I've been a fan of his ever since. Unfortunately, I just don't think they took a huge step getting to the AFC Championship. But I unfortunately think that it stops here, and the Chiefs are going to wind up I think the Chiefs are too complete, and where I feel that the offensive and defensive lines are where you win these types of games. I feel like the Chiefs' offensive line is going to be able to handle the Bengals' defense, and also that the Chiefs' defensive line is going to get in on Burrows. And ultimately, it's just going to be a little too much. It's going to be a lot closer than people think, but I think that the Chiefs wind up covering, and I actually have it still going under. It's like at 54.5. I got it going under. I got it like 31-21.
All right. Yeah, I'm just going to echo what y'all said, basically. It's, the Bengals O-line, it ain't good, right? Let's not beat around the bush. 9 sacks last week. They allowed 4 sacks earlier in the season against the Chiefs. It's the playoff times, too, so they're going to be even more energetic and hyped. I love Joe Burrow. I love Jamar Chase. Love Joe Mixon. They got a great team. If you would have told me 2 years ago at the number 1 overall pick that they would already be in the AFC Championship game, I would have said you're crazy, but here they are. And I think I'm agreeing, man. I think that it's their time to run out. I think they go in the offseason, they rebuild that offensive line, and they could be a force in the AFC for a while, because they have a very young team. I just think the Chiefs are a more complete team in terms of just overall. I trust their O-line a little bit more. And it's Patrick Mahomes in the playoff, right? He's already proving in just a few short seasons he is a dominant player. So I think that the Chiefs will move on in this one. I think it will be it'll go under, but I think the Chiefs will get the win. I'll go 34, the Bengals 21.
Okay.
All right, let's move over to the NFC, guys, with the LA Rams and the 49ers. I will tell you guys this: a California team is going to the Super Bowl. So who do you got? Jay, who you got first, buddy?
All right. Hey, let's get this thing. Listen, Joey G cannot make mistakes against this LA Rams team like he made against Dallas and like he made against Green Bay. Because with Dallas and Green Bay, Debo, Elijah Mitchell, and that defense covered up a lot of things that he did. And it's kind of like, okay, we took a little bit, but the defense gave us a little bit back. And I think they were able to compensate for Jimmy G's mistakes. He can't go into this LA Rams, who just had a superb performance against the GOAT and the Bucks, and think that he's going to come away with the win. It's just not going to happen like that. And it's going to go through LA as well. So that's their home turf. I think Matt Stafford this is just his year. You know how some people how you can look at him and say, this is the year. He was in purgatory where careers go to die in Detroit. And he goes to LA where careers can sometimes be reborn or born in Kurt Warner's state. And I think that this guy is going to take the greatest show on turf, because
they were in St. Louis.
Well, that's true. That's true. Okay, different city, but same organization. And I get it. But honestly, with Odell Beckham Jr., Robert Kupp, and God forbid they would have had Woods healthy, you're looking at probably the one and then you got Henderson, you got Clay Akers, all them guys in the backfield. I mean, this is a hell of an offense. And let's not even mention what he's got on the defensive side. Could you imagine what Darnold is going to do to the 49ers? Or what Von Miller is going to do from the outside? Or what Patrick Ramsey is going to do in the secondary? How many times are you going to pick off Jimmy G's bad passes? So I'm going to definitely go Rams this one. Absolutely. And I don't even think it's a close race.
All right, Frankie, who you got?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Jay. I'm gonna have to go with the Rams on this one. I feel like the Rams are the stronger team going in after what they did to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers last week. Then again, don't sleep on the 49ers. Like I said last week, they are it's basically a Cinderella team also in the NFC. Being in the what is it, 6th seed or 7th seed they were in, and going out to beat that. Yeah, they were 6th seed going out to beat Dallas, and then surprisingly coming back and beating Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field. So there's possible ways for the 49ers to come in and surprise the Rams and win this one. But I as much as I love Jimmy G, I just don't feel that he's strong enough against this defense to actually pull it off and win it. And plus, he's not fully 100% healthy. Let's also agree on that. He's been banged up this playoff, including in the last half of the regular season. He's been banged up and he's been playing through it. So I just don't feel that they're strong enough to win in SoFi Stadium and against the Rams. They just have so much weapons on defense and so many weapons on offense. I love the hell out of Cooper Kupp and how he's playing this year. I'm surprised that like me and Jay said this on Tuesday. It's insane that the MVP conversation only goes to quarterbacks. I feel like the MVP should be going to other positions, because Cooper Kupp is having one outstanding year, and I don't see the 49ers going on this one, so I'm gonna go Bengals Rams Super Bowl 56.
All right, Philly Sports Guy, who's your prediction for this one?
I now know why you had me come on, because obviously a Patriots fan and a Cowboys fan don't know much about football. One's living in the past and one's living in Tampa Bay now. So obviously they don't know much about what's going on. I tell you, I think that this game's going to be a ridiculously low-scoring game. I don't think it's going to matter. I think that the 49ers win this game in spite of Garoppolo, not because of him. The defense is a much stronger defense. Actually, the defenses are really stronger than both offenses. I think Stafford is just not it. You know what I mean? I think he tried everything he could to give the game away to Tampa last week. So I think that it's not going to even matter here, that the 49ers are going to win this game, and it's going to be like a 16-10, 16-13 game. And it's not, like I said, it's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be very defensive. And I think that the 49ers are just going to be able to drive down the field enough to kick a lot of field goals and score one touchdown. And they're just not going to be able to kick enough field goals in LA.
Let me say one thing real quick, Logan, before you go, because I just want to touch a little bit on one thing on what Philly Sports Guy said. And this is I want to kind of put this out to the audience. This is an early disclaimer. Philly Sports Guy's coming on February 8th. It's already locked in. It's coming February 8th. When's the Super Bowl, Logan?
Let me
February
check.
13th?
February 13th.
13th, right before Valentine's Day.
All right. Okay, so it's obviously after February 8th. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So we're going to see whose predictions come true, and we're going to revisit this conversation February the 8th, and we're going to see how bad the Dallas Cowboys are living in the past, Philadelphia.
Yeah, because I went against you guys on both counts here. Both of you two chose the Bengals and the Rams. I got the Chiefs and the 49ers. So when we come back and it's the Chiefs and the 49ers about to play, you could say, all hail Philly Sports Guy.
You know what? I'll say that too. I will.
I will.
I say that. I already say that already for how famous you are right now.
Well, that's true. Hey, that's true. That's true now. That's true. All hail Philly Sports Guy.
Now, Logan, before you go, I want to point out that the Rams are a first-half team. We've seen that they're a first-half team, and they're not good in the second half compared to what the 49ers are. They're a terrible first-half team, and somehow they come out in the second half and surprisingly be better in the second half. So I agree. I can agree on some points with Philly Sports Guy because it can go either way. It can be a low-scoring game because look what 49ers did.
Hey, Frankie, keep that narrative energy. Don't start going now.
Listen, I stick to my predictions. All right, I'm never switching it.
Here's the other thing. I'm going to cut Frankie off. Here's the other thing. The 49ers have already beaten the Rams twice in a row, 6 times in a row in total. And after you could say whatever you want. People say, "Oh, it's hard to beat the same team 3 times in a row." When you've beaten them 6 times in a row, the 7th is almost a shoo-in.
And they did beat the Packers. They've owned the Packers, and they went through in Green Bay and beat them. What? Now it's 4 times in the playoffs.
They own Aaron Rodgers, not just the Packers. They own Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, and the funny thing about that is this is the same Aaron Rodgers that said, And when they asked him, well, how disappointed are you that the Niners didn't draft you? And he said, not nearly as disappointed as they're going to be looking back on it. And I was like, man.
What a great quote, though, honestly. We got a few comments here before I give my analysis. We have something coming for you, Jay, from Mr. Valdez here saying, Jay, over on YouTube, what going on Gridiron Yuki saying 49ers and Bengals, his predictions.
Yeah. Okay,
Of course,
I like that one.
Leader of ASAP, Freddie Henderson, what's going on, bro? Nice to see you in the comments here. And also, again, let Mahomes speak his facts. All right.
Yeah, I agree.
It's gonna be a good game. I think I'm with Philly Sports guys. It's gonna be a low scoring game. I think even though let's not get it twisted. The Rams team is special, right? They have a good offense with Kupp, with Stafford, with Henderson, right? With OBJ, who's had a really good renaissance here since he got let go from the Browns. Their defense, right? They got some veterans with Von Miller, of course, and Aaron Donald. It's tough because the 49ers teams have been scrappy. And like we all said, Jimmy G hasn't been lighting the world on fire, right? He's kind of been getting through the motions, but his team has picked him up. And that's important because if you can rally around, if your quarterback's not doing good, if your team can rally around that and get some big victories over the number 1 seed Packers, who everyone, I'm sure all of us here included, thought that the Packers were going to just beat them alive by 20 points, and they got the win, then they've got something special, right? They got a good head coach, and I think it's going to be close. I'm going to give the slight advantage to the LA Rams in a 3-point ball game. Get it by a field goal. Why not? The rest of the games last week, I think it'll be a 3-point ball game with the Rams winning it close. Not a game winner, but in the fourth quarter, they'll get the slight edge.
Yeah,
he's definitely going to want to come back on. All three of us is going with the Rams. He's definitely going to want to come back.
Stand alone.
Also, Jay, quick question here: are you happy that Dan Quinn is back?
Honestly, that's probably the only coach I really am glad that's back is Dan Quinn because I like what he did with our defense. I'm just not a Mike McCarthy guy. I don't believe in him. I would much rather have a Sean Payton or a Brian Flores who could come in and do big things with us. I'm not a Mike McCarthy guy at all. It kind of makes me sad to know that we have God knows how many more years with this guy.
Can you stop bringing up Sean Payton? Stop bringing up Sean Payton.
I'm going to say Sean Payton ain't going in. Sean Payton's going to the beach.
God.
We'll get to him in a minute. But let's go over to a quarterback who's retiring first. Ben Roethlisberger, longtime Steelers quarterback, is calling it quits. I don't know what they're going to do now. But he's done. So give me your thoughts. What were your thoughts on Big Ben as a player? And just quickly, what do y'all think that the Steelers going to do with their situation? I'll get you go first, Jay.
All right. I like what, the Steelers are going to – the Steelers are in new charted territory, right? And there are some – depending on what Rodgers does and depending on what Wilson does in terms of whether – and depending on what they even do with Deshaun Watson – I mean, there are 3 prospects out there that could really come into Pittsburgh and carry them to another Super Bowl because let's be honest, with the way that TJ Watt and that defense is playing and the fact that they got into the playoffs with a very old and damn near decrepit Ben Roethlisberger.
He was falling apart.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, what could they do with a vibrant guy or even experienced guy like Rodgers who still has some life left in him before he's done? Or Russell Wilson, who can still has life. I mean, there's lots of variables there that they could play with. In terms of Roethlisberger, I think he stayed 2 years too long. I think he stayed 2 years too long. I think he should have been done probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Truthfully,
after that injury, maybe.
Yeah. Question here for you, Jay. Do you think the Steelers will start Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph, or will they go in the draft and get Kenny Pickett, who is from Pittsburgh?
We talked about that on Tuesday, Jay.
Yeah. I think that they don't go with either Dwayne Haskins or Rudolph. I don't think that either one of those is a long-term solution at starter. We already kind of know that. And I don't even think Dwayne Haskins is good enough to even be a backup in the NFL. I think he needs to go to some place like it could develop him, like the CFL, the USFL, some other FL that doesn't have an N in front of it. But be that as it may, yeah, I think that I'm not really big on this class of quarterbacks. Yeah, I think that they should probably go with a free agent if they can. And if not, then maybe take a chance on Pickett. I mean, if you have no other alternatives.
Philly sports guy, what were your thoughts on Ben Roethlisberger's career and what are the Steelers going to do?
As far as his career, obviously the the playoff appearances and the Super Bowl rings speak for themselves. Personally, I was never a fan of his, more for his off the field stuff that went on rather than. But I'm not gonna bag on the guy for that. We're talking about football here, so I can look past that. And in a football sense, I am, I love football. I love it. Yeah, I can appreciate greatness. He did show greatness for a number of years. And it's always like the fact that they always seem to make the playoffs. It's just, sometimes it was even in spite of him, but yet they were always able to make some noise. So I feel like, in that there's a big loss and lots of, big shoes to fill in Pittsburgh. That being said, I don't think they have any one of those names on that list that you just put up there, not going there. I've actually heard the opposite way, that for a 5th round pick, that they were going to possibly go after Gardner Minshew.
Oh,
that's not bad.
That's not bad.
No,
That's
not good.
I could believe that.
And I know
He's a Cowboys fan.
I don't mean any disrespect, but honestly, I kind of think that Gardner Minshew is just a really good backup. I didn't believe him in Jacksonville. I didn't believe him with Philly. I just think he's a really, really good backup or an amazing porn star, whoever comes first.
Well, I do think that he has an attitude that is a little immature, but I think that fits in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I feel like Pittsburgh, and I've been talking about Pittsburgh a lot. I would say, especially since I got TikTok going on in the background, I have tons of Pittsburgh haters. Tons of Pittsburgh hate that are on me all the time. And I feel like that, most of the fans, when they're doing great, that Pittsburgh's the best team in the world. The moment they lose, they are quiet. They scatter worse than Cowboys fans.
They tuck that towel in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it would, that Gardner Minshew could actually do well over there. I think that the way that they do things over there would be able to harness his good abilities, and the defense is really strong there, and I feel like that's how they're going to get to the playoffs in general. And all he's got to do is manage the games and score points and get excited when he wins.
Sure.
And I got a question. What if, because I have a feeling, and I've been saying it all year long, is that Aaron Rodgers is not going to stay in Green Bay. He's going to leave this year. And now that Big Ben is retired, do you think that Aaron Rodgers can somehow, some way end up in Pittsburgh?
I don't think so.
Not Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh's his type of town.
Fair.
To be honest, I think he goes to Denver.
And I'm gonna touch on why he goes to Denver in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to that topic in a minute there a little bit. But Frankie, what did you think of Ben Roethlisberger, the player? And like I said, I got the quarterback free agents pulled up here for 2022. It ain't too hot. The only big names I see are like Jameis Winston, I guess Andy Dalton, and Marcus Mariota, Teddy Bridgewater. That's about it. Ain't nothing amazing.
Yeah, Big Ben had a great career. As a Patriot fan, there was a lot of rivals between Big Ben and Tom Brady, Patriots and Steelers. And to be honest, Big Ben actually gave us a run for our money. He had a great career. It's gonna be, it's sad to see someone go, especially someone you've seen get drafted and you see play for the past 18 years. I agree with some people on the comments. He should have retired in 2019, which was the year I believe he hurt his arm, or I think it was last year, but he should have retired after that year because he did not look the same, and we all knew that he was going to call it a career soon. My thought was, why did he sign that 1-year contract at the offseason this year when he should have just, rolled into the sunset and just focused on his family? But hey, he did what he did. He got his team back to the playoffs again. Yeah. Wasn't an ending that he wanted because, when you retire, you want to retire on top. So it wasn't a really, really good ending to him. But this now puts in, and it's tough for me to say this, but this now puts in that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go downhill. For a person, from my perspective, because we had Tom Brady and now we lost him, and then look how we're doing. It's just going to show the same with Pittsburgh, and now because of that, I feel that the Philadelphia Eagles are now going to be the face of Pennsylvania. because look how what they're looking. Jalen Hurts is actually playing good football. They got good weapons in Philly. Nobody even thought that the Philadelphia Eagles were going to make it to where they were at this year, and they made it. They made it to the playoffs. And let's not forget the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. They have 3 first-round draft picks. 3.
Yep.
And that's my point. I really think Roethlisberger hurt the Steelers franchise by not retiring about 3 years or so earlier when they could have gotten to the draft, maybe given away some picks and drafted up for a good quarterback. Let's be honest. There was the last couple of drafts in terms of QBs, there have been some really good gold mines there that they could have snagged up on.
Especially last year.
Yeah, last year, even the year before, there was a lot of good prospects out there in that pool. And this year, it ain't too hot. Like I said, there might be a diamond in the rough, but there's not really one guy you can circle and be like, this is a guy I fully believe in. That's going to be a number 1 overall pick. That's not how I see it for these quarterbacks this year. But, as a player, he did a lot of really good things. Him and Mike Tomlin, we'll talk about them one day, is how good they were as a duo together. And, a really good career for Pittsburgh. Played there his whole career. I'm waiting for that jersey retirement, right? And then he'll get that gold jacket in a couple of seasons. And, like I said, great career. He hung on for a little bit too long, that we can all agree. And, like these last couple of years, he just had 25-pound weights on his legs because he could not move out of the pocket at all. But he willed his team to the playoffs, though. And, the Steelers had a good run. We'll see what they're doing now. And to talk about Gridiron Yuki here, yes, the Steelers are going to be in a rebuild, I think, because they're going to have a quarterback.
Definitely rebuild, yeah.
All right.
I think they're going to be right there. Well, if Aaron stays with Green Bay, no. But if Aaron does leave Green Bay, I think Green Bay's going to be right there with Pittsburgh.
We will see.
And the same
with Green Bay's cap space or lack thereof.
Yeah,
and the same goes with this team that we're about to talk about.
And you're right. There we go, Frankie. Sean Payton, the longtime head coach for the New Orleans Saints, decided to call it quits and retire this morning. What were your thoughts on this, guys? A little bit of a shock or not so much? And, man, another team that needs some head coach now. Jay?
I'll be honest with you. I did not really think he was going to leave. I thought he would at least commit to Jameis Winston for another year or so to help continue to develop him. But the fact that he is leaving doesn't surprise me either, because they don't have they're in a terrible cap situation. And if Jameis Winston doesn't pan out for whatever reason, he's still stuck there and in cap hell. So I think that, Sean Payton stepping away and this is something I didn't understand. I thought that coaches and players were in the same agreement that if you're under contract, your rights still stay with the team, even if you leave, but it doesn't. Apparently it works differently, that the coach, if he leaves the team, can get his rights back. Or he can sign with somebody else, which is something I didn't know. So I think he did the right thing by retiring. I think he's going to go take at least a year off and chill out in Idaho somewhere. And then I think he comes back in the league. And I would love for Mike McCarthy to be fired when he does. And Dallas Cowboys, even though I know you won't do it, bring Sean Payton to Dallas. I know I'm saying Peyton Manning. Bring Sean Payton to Dallas. That's what I would love to see. If that happened, I would cry. I would cry, and then I would send a letter to Philly sports guys saying, "How you like me now?"
All right, we have Frankie C and his special guest. What do y'all think Sean Payton's going to do now?
Well, she's saying that she's surprised Sean Payton lasted this long. I feel like Sean Payton was going to leave literally with Drew Brees. Once he seen Drew Brees gone, I felt like Sean Payton was going to go. It was going to happen sooner or later.
Right.
He should have, made it one more year to see what he could have done with Jameis Winston. But I just felt Sean Payton probably knew that it was time for him to go. He's been with them for 15 years. He got them their one and only Super Bowl. And, he just knew. He knew that his team wasn't going to be the same as it was the past 15 years. So it's better to step down early than to keep going and just humiliate your career.
All right. Philly Sports Guy, what were your thoughts on this?
Oh, my God, you too?
You have to excuse my language, but I think he's a bitch. I think that straight out.
Cover your ears.
I'm getting off the ship when it's about to sink. And he was part of the reason why it's starting to sink. And now he's like, oh, I got to get off. Sorry, guys. Bye. So, yeah, I think that this was straight out of bitch move, and I understand because he's going, what's going to happen is they're moving Troy over to Amazon, Troy Aikman over to Amazon to go do the games over there. And then he's going to be with Drew Brees on the broadcast there. Right. So It'll be interesting to hear some of the stories between coach and quarterback there during a broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's straight out a bitch. Captain left his ship.
I feel like he should have retired when Breeze retired. That would have been, just both of them. You send off, your quarterback, your longtime head coach. And I mean, they could have done something. But then they paid Taysom Hill all that money, which ain't going to be used for nothing. They got Jameis Winston, that ain't working out. They're going to lose Teron Armstead because, like Jade mentioned, they are in cap hell right now. Yeah. They have to give up so many of their guys. So they're going to be, they were in rebuild. They're going to be even more of a rebuild now with whoever their head coach is going to be. And, Sean Payton, of course, got the Super Bowl and everything. Probably the best head coach for the Saints all time. So he's a solid career, but just didn't end the best way. Of course, we all know with Bountygate a couple of years ago. And, what good coach doesn't have a little bit of controversy, right? But, right off into the sunset, like Jay said, in Idaho or wherever. And we'll see who wants to go and coach down there in NOLA.
Philly sports guy does make a good point, though. He really left. I mean, they're in terror. Like whoever goes in there, they're gonna have to clean house because they can't stay $70 million or $62 million over the cap.
And speaking of which, Jay, we had a comment here saying, do you think players like Malcolm Jenkins, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, and Michael Thomas are all about to leave the franchise?
I honestly think you keep Alvin Kamara. I think you keep Michael Thomas. And you keep Jameis Winston just because he's still a decent quarterback and he's cheap. And then I think you have to restructure everything else. I think you have to figure out whatever. And they're going to have to do a lot of restructuring, honestly.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Because, like I said, they had their couple of seasons, right, where they had that peak. They had all these guys. It ain't there no more. So they're definitely going to have to get rid of some of those guys on the list there. I mean, you can get a good bit for Cam Jordan. I don't even know if Michael Thomas ain't played in 2 seasons, it feels like. So
he didn't want to. He didn't want to play, man. Once Drew Brees left, he was like, I ain't playing. I'm gonna fake this injury. I'm not playing for Sean Payton.
So you heard that? I believe the Saints did interview Byron Leftwich today, but I think he'll go to Jacksonville. It's a little bit of a weird thing going on with their GM. But like I said, we all think he's going to go to Jacksonville. I hope he goes to Jacksonville.
Well, he did. I think he did sign with them. I believe, didn't he?
You know who I think winds up going into New Orleans? Adam Gase.
Yeah.
Oh, if
you're going to have a crappy team, you might as well have a crappy coach.
There you go.
Who's going to be able to deal with the media in such a way that it's going to seem like it's everybody else's fault.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Might as well just get on that burn.
Let's be honest. I think Sean Payton. Not Sean Payton. I think the Byron Leftwich as a first-year coach. I wouldn't want to go to a place that has as many issues like Giants do and like the like the Saints do. I want to go to at least a place where I can have some sort of ability to rebuild or do what I need to do, or flexibility. And Jacksonville gives them that flexibility. They just need a culture change. And if Brian Leftwich can give them a culture change, he could right that ship easily.
And the only other person I think about right now for that spot is Doug Peterson too.
Yeah.
Since he's not getting a lot of calls, for coaching jobs,
right?
My thought is that he might be the perfect scenario for that area because he's also somebody who can handle the pressure of stinking out loud.
Right.
Yeah, you're right about that.
He could rebuild that team quick. He could rebuild that team really quickly. Have one terrible year and then just rebuild quickly.
Yeah. And speaking of teams rebuilding possibly, what is next for Green Bay if Aaron Rodgers decides to leave? He said he ain't going to stick around if it's a rebuild. So it's looking like that he might be jumping off the ship soon. Frankie, I'll let you start first.
I'll tell you one thing. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, which he will, because I'm going to stick that to my gut, he will leave Green Bay. When he leaves, the question is, will Devontae Adams go?
I think that's the real question. Yeah, that's true. Will he go?
Now, if they franchise tag him, then know that the Green Bay Packers are locking him. They're trying to no, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to stick one more year with it. If we're going to be terrible without Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be sticking with us and be terrible with us. So that'll be a little messed up if they franchise tag him. But then there's a lot of other players as well that are going to become free agents this year if Aaron Rodgers leave. The Packers are just going to go downhill. They're just going to go downhill if Aaron Rodgers leave. I just don't. Aaron Rodgers, man, he's a good quarterback,
right?
But I don't know, man. I don't know. He reminds me of Brett Favre also, being that great guy that only got one Super Bowl win. He's going to go to another team, and the question is, will he win a Super Bowl with that other team? And I'm going to say no. Aaron Rodgers, if you're going to leave Green Bay, you might as well just retire, bro. Just retire.
Isn't it kind of crazy that in the last 30 years, the Packers have had, two going to be Hall of Fame quarterbacks with Brett
45 years, Logan. 45 years.
Between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and only got 2 Super Bowls out of it.
2.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
It really is. Between all the passing records and whatever they got and team records. But Philly sports guy, what do you think? Is Aaron Rodgers going to stay in Green Bay, or is he going to leave?
Well, I think that he will stay. But if by chance he does not stay, here's a hot take. Here's a really big hot take. The next quarterback of the Green Bay Packers
Let me get you here.
will be Tom Brady. And Tom Brady will go up there and actually do what Aaron Rodgers could not. And that would be win a Super Bowl. And I'm not a Tom Brady fan. Not even as
Throw that out there.
But I tell you, that's a hot take.
That's a real hot take.
Leaves Green Bay. Tom Brady goes up there for a 2-year contract, and he wins a Super Bowl in that first year.
I'll tell you right now, if that comes to fruition, which that is a sizzling take, I literally got 3rd-degree burns when he said that. If that happens and it comes to fruition, and he goes up there and pulls off that miracle or that feat after he left, I mean, there's no way he's not the GOAT. There's no way he's not a true MVP. I mean, because that's GOAT worthy. That's matter of fact, if there's a word above GOAT, it's that.
Right.
It's that. I mean, that's how serious that would be. I mean, and not that Tom Brady's not the GOAT, he is the GOAT. But I mean, that's just like some 18 level of Zelda stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's like I'll say this though. I think that Aaron Rodgers, I think he's gonna go to Denver specifically because Hackett went to Denver. And he has a really good relationship with Hackett, and Hackett will let him do whatever he wants to do in Denver. And I think that's why he goes, because Aaron Rodgers wants to do what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, and Hackett will let him do it. And let's be honest, Peyton Manning didn't get his second Super Bowl in Indy, but he went to Denver and got it. You know?
Yeah, but
and let's be honest.
Let's be honest. A much better defense.
Well, that's okay. And you're right. You're right, because he had Von. And I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that's still a really good Denver team, though. I mean, they're only really a field general away from making some serious noise in the playoffs. This is what I think. Hackett is not an upgrade to Fangio. He's just not. He's not. So I think that if Denver is talking to Hackett, and they were really committed to bringing Hackett in, which they have, I gotta believe somewhere Aaron Rodgers has had conversations with Hackett before he went there, and I gotta think that was a leverage piece. Like, hey, I really believe I can get Aaron if you hire. And there's got to be something to bring them there, because that's not an upgrade to Fangio. And because of the relationship between Hackett and Rodgers, I got to believe somewhere that's in the play.
Got a comment here saying Devontae will go to Denver.
Rodgers and Adams go to Denver, and Gronk and Brady go to Green Bay.
Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. I can see that. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because if he leaves Green Bay, there's no way they franchise Adams.
Right.
Not that they couldn't, but I don't think they don't have the cap space to pay him, Brady, and Gronk. Right.
Yeah, nah. It's gonna be interesting, because if what Philly sports got, if that ever happens, right? If you're Jordan Love, do you just drop out of the league at that point?
He should drop out of the league anyway.
He's been waiting for 3
terrible
years.
practices in Green Bay.
He's been waiting for 3 years. He's had
terrible practices.
Saying that, Jay, right?
He's either missing wide receivers, or he's throwing those helicopter passes. And I'm like, and then he goes or he hikes the ball, but then he forgets to play, and he's telling them, "Hey, I forgot to play." And they're like, "You forgot to play."
Well, here you go, Jay. Since Philly sports guy
had his own hot take, come out a day later and say, "Well, we believe in Jordan Love."
Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna get my hot take in here, Jay. Since Philly sports guy's throwing out some crazy trades ideas, I'm gonna throw some out there too. Since you mentioned that Jordan Love might not be the guy, and since Ben Sutherth here saying he's going to the West Coast, well, what's the team on the West Coast that's currently doing pretty good? Rodgers doesn't want to go to a rebuild. currently going to be fighting for the NFC Championship this week. Oh, yeah, the 49ers, where they linked them to this past season.
How funny would that be? Oh, my God.
Trade them to the Niners. The
Oh,
Packers can get whoever they want, right? Garoppolo, or if you want Trey Lance, go Trey Lance. I'd go Garoppolo. But trade that, and you can have Rodgers go over there. They probably be able to get Adams. They might. God, could you imagine Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, George? Woo, that would be impressive.
That's
so
saucy.
Also, do you think that Robert Tonyan will follow Rodgers, or will he stay in Green Bay?
Oh,
listen, all these people are not going to be following Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
let's stop that.
He ain't LeBron. Also, I'd rather not deal with it. It's
you're basically saying his entire offense is going to be following him wherever he goes. That's not happening.
Yeah,
maybe
how that works.
Devontae Adams, but
not in football.
The entire offense.
Not in football. But all right, let's keep it in the NFL. Top 5 current active quarterbacks. Philly Sports Guy, I'll let you go first.
Really? So I like Brady. I like on that list right there, 3 of them are on there. I don't put Rodgers on there. I think Rodgers has got too much attitude. I mean, he's got the talent, but he's got too much attitude. And I'm not a big believer in Russell Wilson anymore either. So if I had to fill in those spots there, I like Herbert, even though he doesn't have the defense and he's still got a little bit more to go beforehand. And then, the 5th one is going to be the hardest one to try to figure out. Joe Burrows. I like Joe Burrows.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to be a force to reckon with for years.
All right. Jay, who do you got for your top 5?
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with Philly Sports Guy. I don't believe in Wilson or Rodgers. I don't. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. Look, because the people out there in Green Bay, man, they're like diehard, whatever. But at the end of the day, man, like you said, I think Burrow is just playing so freaking crazy right now. It's ridiculous. And then I do believe it, like you said, for the same reason, Herbert. I think Herbert, Burrow, and Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, these are guys of the future. The old guard between is kind of passing the torch. And I think these guys are taking it.
All right, Frankie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen,
Mac Jones,
Justin Herbert. I want to say Joe Burrow too, but right next to Joe Burrow, I honestly want to put Jalen Hurts in there. And I'm not saying that just because we got Philly Sports Guy. I'm saying that because I actually like what Jalen Hurts brings to the table. He's actually playing decent football, especially with a team that isn't that that great in the weapons wise. But he's a good mobile. He got a good arm. I want to put Joe Burrow up there, or Jalen Hurts up there as well.
Got a comment here. So he's got Patrick Mahomes 1, Brady 2, Allen 3, Rodgers 4, and Burrow at 5.
Yeah, this guy likes me as Patrick Mahomes. He said I sound like him on Tuesday. I love it. I'm like, thank you. That's a compliment.
Yeah, there you go.
That actually is a pretty good compliment.
Yeah. All right, let me see. So, obviously, you're going to have Brady, Mahomes, Allen on there. I'd like to go a little bit different, right? Someone you guys haven't mentioned. What about Lamar Jackson? You can throw him on there.
No,
what a joke.
Rogan.
Look, hey,
look. Even he's like, really? This dude put up.
I would say, Frank, you put Jalen Hurts, man. I don't know about top 5.
Well, I will put Jalen Hurts up there because I've seen him play all year long. So, but I'll accept him up there from Frankie because I know he's trying to kiss my ass a little bit.
You know what? I was picking that up too, man. I was like, damn, coach, okay.
No, I really like what Jalen Hurts brings to the table, especially when he was from Alabama and stuff, and when he got transferred. He's a really good quarterback.
And then saying top 15 at best. At best. That's former MVP there, boy. I don't know about that. All right.
But you know what's funny? Jay's just mad because nobody brought up Dak Prescott in the top.
No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, not at all. I am so unimpressed right now with Dak Prescott. Not Dak Prescott in the regular season. I'm okay with Dak in the regular season. I just don't like Dak in the postseason. The postseason.
Love-hate relationship. All right. Anthony Davis finally made his return. Does this change the Lakers season? Frankie, I'll let you kick things off with your Lakers jersey here tonight.
I'm hoping it changes the season. Shit, we need. Excuse my language, but we need to change the season. Adding AD back it really helps. It puts LeBron James back to where he belongs. He doesn't need to be at the 5, and Anthony Davis I'm hoping he's fully healthy. Can step up. Can step up really big. We had a good game 2 nights ago against Brooklyn, but that was without a Kyrie Irving and without a KD. We still let James Harden get a triple-double on us again for the second time this season on us. So I'm not, it depends on how the Lakers are going to look down the stretch. One win isn't going to show me any difference. Tonight, maybe, because we're going up against Philly, and I don't think LeBron James is playing because I don't see LeBron James on the court or on the bench. So I don't think he's playing. But so this basically says it's AD's night to lead the team. So if he can lead the team tonight and get a victory over Philly, then maybe. But like I said, it's still early for him to do for us to say would this change the Lakers season.
Yeah, Frankie, LeBron's not playing tonight. I think it's right knee soreness, and with how good he's been lately,
he needs the rest.
I can see why he's sore. Because if it wasn't for LeBron, this team would maybe have 10 wins. I mean, they just suck.
Or Logan, stop! Don't even start that.
Look, Jay, look, Frankie. Let's be real. It's LeBron and a bunch of other guys at this point. And like I said, Davis, he's coming back, but does it really change the season? It didn't help whenever he was here. Right before he got hurt, it wasn't like they were leading the world. It wasn't like they were a top 5 team.
We were 8-7 before
as long as
Russell Westbrook is so soft, and if you got him the one holding the ball, they're bringing it up the court, you're going to lose. That's what happens. This is an old man's team. We're not playing in the 40 and older league here. This is the NBA. So the Lakers are going to be an 8th seed at best.
My favorite thing I've seen about this Lakers team is saying that Carmelo Anthony remembers World War II because he had practice the next day. Jay,
here's the deal, man. Look, this team is not like the team when LeBron first came to the Lakers and won the ship in the bubble. This is not that Lakers team. This is a La GM team. This is not a Pelinka team. This is LeBron now. The first one was Pelinka. The second one was LeBron. And LeBron, just like Michael Jordan, we're good as players, but terrible in the front office area. And now you're seeing what the front office is giving you. And I don't care if Anthony Davis comes back or not. Injury prone, just like Braun is injury prone. So then you got to start looking, well, okay, out of those two, who else can step up? And there's nobody else that's going to step up for this team. Matter of fact, if anything, they're pushing them the opposite direction. So this team is just like that movie Old Yeller. Somebody needs to take it out to the woodshed, put a couple of rounds in it, and start from scratch.
The trade deadline is going to be interesting for this team because they have, there's rumors they're going to try and get rid of Westbrook. I don't know who would take on that contract. I mean, obviously some of their smaller pieces they aren't using, like DeAndre Jordan, I know, and I think Kent Bazemore are probably going to be gone. But what about like Taylor Horton-Tucker, someone they just signed to a pretty good contract who's been underperforming? I mean, they don't really have a lot of guys with a lot of trade value either, which sucks.
Here's the deal. To answer your question, they already know who could take him on. The Rockets could take that contract on. They're not going to play Westbrook. But watch this. The money, look, but they're not playing John Wall either. So this is where it works. Where it works is it's a money for money swap. But where it works at is, number one, the Lakers can use John Wall much more than they can use Russell Westbrook. And number two, if the Rockets are going to ask for picks, because that's what's going to make it work for the Rockets. They want the picks. They're already done with the money. They know they're not going to put a guy on the court. They're not getting that anyway. But if they can somehow salvage some picks out of the Lakers, which I don't even know if the Lakers even have any picks.
They don't have any picks. They don't got many picks.
Maybe 2027 pick. I don't know.
There you go.
But that's the only way that this could work is if they gave up picks, which is what the Rockets would be asking for. And they don't have it. So I think they're just stuck with Westbrook until his contract is over, honestly.
Yeah, I think they went, Jay, a rumor I saw was, I think, Wall for Westbrook and like 2 first-rounders. John Wall didn't even play this year. So that's just robbery at that point. Well, let's move it on to another guy who might be traded. Go ahead,
update. Quick update on AD. He just walked back to the locker room.
And it's gone.
He's done.
He did score 10 points beforehand, though.
Okay, yeah. So to be fair, we will put the blame on Gridiron Yuki for saying AD better stay healthy for the rest of the season. Shame
He
that
said
man
that.
for that.
Oh my God.
He
That's
should have
all
said the
curse
rest
right
of the
there.
quarter.
Yeah, you should have, or you should have said Westbrook or something.
Yeah, you said yeah. All right. Will James Harden leave at the end of the season? There's been some rumors going around that he ain't too happy out there in Brooklyn. So if he leaves, what are some teams he might sign with? Philly sports guy, there's been some rumors he might go over there with you.
Hey.
Yeah, I heard the sign and trade. And
Yep.
of course, ESPN showed my pretty face right next to his,
There you go.
saying that he would be the most hated player in Philadelphia history. And there's a lot to be said for that, because I can imagine that, if he comes here, will he be able to play nicely with, Embiid? And I don't know that answer. And like I know it's going to be interesting to see at the trading deadline this year with Tobias Harris. Is he going to stay around? Is he not? Is he going to be traded away? There's a lot there's a lot at stake. I don't necessarily want him here, but I don't get to make that say. They don't pay me enough money to make decisions.
All right. Jay, who do you think? Is he going to stay in Brooklyn, or is he going to get moved and shipped maybe back to Houston?
No, we don't need him in Houston. Not that he's not good, but we're in rebuild mode, and Harden's nowhere near rebuild mode. He's a guy that needs to compete right now. And the Philadelphia 76ers, honestly, look, this is what I think about Harden. Harden played well with Westbrook. He just did. I mean, I don't know how they made that work, but they made it work. Then he goes on to the Brooklyn Nets, thinking that he's going to be playing with the three-headed monster, but then Kyrie Irving does a very Kyrie Irving type of thing, and doesn't want to get vaccinated and all this other stuff. So I think Harden is just fed up with, number one, Irving's selfish play. I think he's upset because, Durant isn't healthy, and I think he just feels like he's stuck in a situation that he can't do anything about. And he also doesn't – I don't think he really has fallen in love with the Brooklyn way of life, let's just say. So I think he is looking – for another way out. I think if they don't trade him, I think when his contract is done, I think he walks and he goes someplace else. And I honestly do think that if he did go to Philadelphia, he's not going to want to be the guy, because he's not even the guy in Brooklyn. He's okay with taking a backseat role. And I think when you take his scoring and his dribbling and all the intangibles, he can play the point guard. He can also play the shooting guard, depending on where you want him. And he's okay doing that. I think he could coexist real nicely with Embiid and the rest of that locker room. And I think you guys are in contention for a championship. I absolutely believe it. Much more so than with Ben Simmons.
All right, Frankie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's going to be leaving Brooklyn. I hope he don't go to Philly, because that's just going to make Philly more horrible than what they're going to be coming the next couple of years. But if he does go to Philly, that's it's just a typical thing, because Philadelphia gets angry people all the time. But honestly, I honestly think that he's gonna probably most likely go to a team that doesn't have any superstar experience, and that's probably gonna be like where what's like the worst team, Utah, that has like no top star player. I mean, they got Rudy Gobert. That's like the top name, but they don't have anybody else. So, why not? Go ahead, go down. So why not send him to, Utah and do something with Utah? I don't think Doc Rivers is even going to look at James Harden and try and go for it, because if he wanted to go for James Harden, he would have done it before Brooklyn did. But so I don't know. I don't really care much about James Harden. I don't really like James Harden. Let him go back to Houston. Let him go back to Houston where he belongs.
It's going to be interesting, right? Because said you don't like it with Kyrie's whole vaccination stance and everything. It ain't going too well with it. But God, could you imagine just the wasted potential that this team had with James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving? All three of those guys, top 75 players, and they've played maybe 20 games together on the court. And for Harden to maybe get traded or potentially leave it this season, that's just a punch right in the gut. I don't know if he stays, right? Unless they get the Brinks truck out. There's a lot of teams that want him, and like Frankie said, I don't know if you want to go to Utah because we know James likes to associate with certain clubs, and I don't think Utah has many of those. But he could go to all 20, the rest of the year, 20, 30 teams in the
NBA. Would Durant be pissed if they pulled off a trade Westbrook for Harden and we got Westbrook back and he had to play with Westbrook again?
We see Kevin Durant retire the next day.
Oh my God, that'd be horrible. That'd be absolutely horrible.
I was saying that Harden was complaining about traffic in New York. So
do you know another team he can go to? Probably Sacramento.
Oh no, I would retire at that point. I wouldn't even go to Sacramento. I wouldn't entertain that.
He don't got nobody in Sacramento. Why not just go to Sacramento so you can be a face? You're not going to win a championship. You just go somewhere where you can be a face.
Harden with the Warriors?
Stop.
Get out of here. Get out of here, Damian Hernandez. Get that. No. We're doing that.
Oh,
now
AD's
we're going to change
back.
the photo here to a much better one. Here we are, gentlemen. That's how we do it here on the show. Quick editing right here.
And you know what's amazing about this photo right here is James Harden looks confused. He looks
scared.
He don't know what to expect from my man Philly sports guy. Look at that. It's so funny. This is an amazing picture.
Great.
By the way, Philly sports guy does the best job with makeup. I could never make straight lines like that with makeup. I'd be all over the place.
Hey, you know what? It takes a lot of work. It's a lot of work and a lot of practice.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, guys, let's keep moving here. Are the Suns the best team in the NBA? Quick yes or no answer. Philly sports guy, yay or nay?
Yes.
All right, Jay.
Yes, but Memphis is a close second.
And Frankie.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say, they're the best team in the NBA.
All right, we are batting 100 because I will go with them too. They are. He's saying that's – there we go. Oh, we got a nice compliment saying that you've got some skills. There we go.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Gridiron. Much love. All right, guys. Rounding out the show, we have, I believe, 2 more topics. Yep. So should we look at Chris Paul as an MVP due to his stats and leadership? Jay, go first.
Listen, if you don't know about Chris Paul and what he brings to the table in terms of leadership and things of that nature and stats, you have probably not been watching basketball in the last 20 years.
Yep.
Let's just be honest. Because what he did with New Orleans, what he did with if you've not seen him in OKC, you obviously have not been watching basketball. Because he took a team, by all intents and purposes, have said they were in rebuild mode, and somehow whipped them into the playoffs.
Look at him now.
And then look what he did with the Clippers. If he does not go down against Golden State in Game 7 with the Rockets, Rockets are going to the playoff. Or Rockets are going to the finals. Now he's with Phoenix Suns. And look what he's done with Phoenix Suns. Now they're the number 1 team in the league. Everywhere he's gone, he has elevated everybody. And he's done it with leadership, set by example, coaching, facilitating. You name it, Chris Paul has done it. And let me be honest with you. He is the most undersold MVP of the league there ever was. And the fact that he hasn't even been in conversation, people don't really pay attention to what Chris Paul brings to the table.
Philly sports guy? What you got?
I'll be honest. I know that he's a good player. I have not been paying any attention to the West Coast. It's hard enough keeping in track of all the Philly teams. Now that football's over, I'll have a little bit more time to get in touch with basketball. Obviously his points speak for himself. The team speaks for itself. So I guess you have to put him in the mix just because. However, I feel like that we got the MVP on the court every night in Philly. Well, not every night, just every night that he plays. It's hard to really compare the two because I don't really see them that often. And I don't watch – I don't have TV at my house. So unless I'm at the bar watching a game, I don't get to see the games. So – thank God I'm at the bar a lot, but that's beside the point. That being said, I think that again, the numbers speak for themselves. The record speaks for itself, and because of that alone, you have to have him in the mix.
And Frankie C, what are your thoughts on the guy who could have been a Laker 10 years ago?
Yeah, man. Thanks for bringing that up. That's really sad.
I had to, man.
No, but I think he, it's well deserved that he should have been up in the MVP conversation. I mean, like Jay said, this guy has gone everywhere and taken teams, surprisingly from a downward perspective back up to a mountaintop. Like he said, like he did with OKC. You know, he didn't have nobody in OKC, but yet he did what he did with OKC. It's just, you know, it's weird that we never even get to see or even get to mention Chris Paul in the MVP conversation. But you know, hopefully things change. We all know what Chris Paul brings to the table. Damn it, why you gotta have two first names? We all know what he brings to the table, and we all know what he can do. So you know, him being an MVP or even trying to get an MVP doesn't really matter much to him. He just wants an NBA ring.
And speaking of Damian Hernandez saying how is CP3 a leader when he's only been to one finals and has 0 championships, leaders are supposed to take you to the finals and win, right? So he just hadn't followed his career pretty much then. Like
I don't think he's followed Chris Paul's
look
career
much
very
at Chris
much.
Paul.
Because if you really look at it, look at where Chris Paul has gone and look who he has faced in the playoffs.
Right.
So like you can't really blame him much on Chris Paul.
He's been a winner everywhere he's went, whether it was in Charlotte or in New Orleans when he first started out, all the way up to now. And you know,
I really thought his best year for the MVP should have been when he was with OKC. I thought that was an MVP caliber year for him. I really did. Just give him, because the MVP goes to what you mean to your team. Not necessarily how many rings you have, but what do you mean to your team during the regular season? And if you don't know that he took that OKC rebuild team and put them in the playoffs, and without him, they're not in the playoffs. I mean, that's just. I thought that was his best year for that award. Absolutely. Embiid, oh my God, you can't. That guy's amazing. I mean, just flat out amazing. But I will say this: let's not hype up Embiid too much on that Orlando Magic game, because it is the Orlando Magic. But still, if you look at him overall, he's averaging what, 33, 34, some odd points like that a game. I mean, so he's averaging quite a bit. So I'm hats off to Embiid. I don't want to take nothing away from him.
And just final thoughts on Chris Paul. I mean, we talk about LeBron and Tom Brady, right, doing stuff that they're doing at their ages. I mean, Chris Paul, I believe, is 35 or 36 also, and he's still putting up great numbers. A starting point guard, right, is rarely hurt and is one of the most consistent point guards in NBA history. So, I mean, I think that it's going to be a case of once he retires, then everyone's going to realize how good he was. But like Jay said, you know, he might go the Charles Barkley route, or excuse me, not Charles Barkley. He might go a route of a lot of great players and just never get that MVP during the regular season. That's just that is how it is, but he has been a good player. All right, last question here for tonight. And, of course, we have to give our respects and remember Kobe and Gianna Bryant. It has been 2 years, guys, since they have tragically passed away. Philly Sports guy, I'll let you go first. What were thoughts on the day it happened and just, two guys and two people and also the many others that we lost that day?
So I'm going to actually go back a little bit further before we go to that, since you're starting with me here. I grew up in Ridley Township, Pennsylvania, which is a Central League team, and he played for Lower Merion, which is also a Central League team. So I remember watching him play basketball in high school, where he was a men against boys, where Ridley actually had a really good team, and they lost to them in the semifinals, where Lower Merion went to go play Chester for the state championship. And Chester, it also had a really good team and a couple of really good players on that team as well. A couple that actually made it to the NBA as well. And he wound up winning that state championship. So seeing that, and of course he was a Laker and he hated on Philly right away. So Philly kind of hated on him for a minute, but he was an Eagles fan. He did keep his Philadelphia roots to a certain extent. And I remember the day that it happened, I was actually at the Pro Bowl. And somebody texted me before anything came across the wire at all. And I announced it to a group of about 2,000 people who were waiting for the players to show up. And I said it as a question, like, Kobe Bryant died in an airplane accident or a helicopter accident? Yeah. And everybody's like, no. And then they went to their phones.
Yep.
Right.
And it went from excitement to look at NFL players to a hush. And then just that whole entire game was kind of marred by the fact that Kobe Bryant and his daughter had passed away. And like I said, to break that type of news, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And then to break that kind of news, kind of stuck with me throughout, because as much as I'm not, like I said, as a player, he was amazing. As a person, he had some questionable things, you know what I mean? But that's, again, we all got questionable things that happen in our lives and stuff like that. But he was a good guy to, promote basketball, promote his family and things like that. And that's kind of where I thought he was able to redeem himself in a way that not many other people and players are able to do. So I kind of gave him that, that second chance, benefit of the doubt to, hey, listen, you became a man, you were a man, you did some wrong, you made up for it, and you came out a better person in the long run. And overall, you want that from every human being. So I feel that to make a very, very long story short here, I feel like that he is really going to be missed in ways that are not even apparent now. I think that as we look back upon his life and such like that, and just the way that he lived it, that there is going to be a lot more that comes out that shows that he was a much more generous guy, a much more better, just a good human being, even though he did some bad things. Right. He was just a great human being, and that he's going to be missed completely.
Jay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, real quick. Philadelphia's beating the Lakers up by 10 points. So, Frankie, you're not looking good against the Philly sports guy right now. And I'm going to turn my attention back more seriously to the topic, because this really is an amazing human being who changed, who, like Michael Jordan changed the game of basketball in many, many different ways. And I think that Kobe Bryant, took the lessons that he learned from Jordan and then applied the Mamba mentality with those lessons, and then took it in a whole other different direction. And, he, obviously he did some extramarital things that he shouldn't have done. But at the end of the day, man, we're all human beings. We're all fallible. Nobody's perfect. And he righted his wrong. And he righted the wrong, I believe, in the family. I think he righted the wrong with the victim. And, and obviously, he went on to do crazy things. He's got beautiful children. And he does a lot, like you said, the Philly sports guy. He does a lot of generous type of things back to the community. He gives a lot back to the community, especially with the school that he has opened up that helps out as well. So, you don't want to obviously ruin a guy on one mistake. So you just kind of like say it is what it is, and we move on and we get better. And he got better. And that's the main thing. He got better. And it is, like you said, it is a tragic thing to watch somebody who has so much life ahead of him. And let's not forget, and she has so much life ahead of her. And obviously the victims that went with them, there was, I believe, another young girl, and I apologize not knowing their name, but there was another young lady that was friends with her on her team, that her life no longer has length or longevity.
And that girl's father. And also that girl's father too.
Right.
And
So there's so many people who outside of Kobe and Gianna that won't be there anymore. And unfortunately, it's sad to me, and he will be forever missed. And I do want to say to Frankie that the image that he posted, that it's interesting that the Lakers are in the number 8 seed, and he wore a number 8 on his jersey. So go figure.
And Frankie, what are your thoughts? You are rocking the Kobe jersey.
I like that he said number 8, because I got the number 8 jersey on.
There it is.
Yeah, it's real sad. I still think about it every day. Till this day, every time I watch basketball, as a Laker fan, he brought a lot into the NBA world. A bunch of players nowadays are playing because of Kobe. They followed Kobe growing up, like vice versa from Philly sports guy and Jay, where they follow the Magic Johnsons and the Larry Birds, and then moving on up to the Michael Jordans and Scottie Pippens and stuff, to where Logan and we grew up in the Kobe Bryant era. So Kobe Bryant brought a lot to the table, and I'm glad what Jay and Philly sports guy has said is he was a bad guy outside of the basketball world, but he wrote his wrongs. He changed his ways. He became the family dad guy that we all expected him to be. The man wrote a book. He won an award for it. We're gonna miss Kobe. He was gone way too soon. I wish we would have known what he would do today if he was still alive. But I'm glad that he's not here to witness what the Lakers are doing right now, because he would be sick to his stomach. But I watched this man. I watched his 81 points. I watched his 3-peats with Shaq. I've watched I've been watched his back-to-back with Pau Gasol in 2009-10. I'm gonna miss Kobe Bryant. It's real sad. And if you guys haven't seen or mentioned, they actually put up a statue of him and his daughter at the crash site yesterday. And if you guys haven't seen it, you guys should check it out. It's a pretty awesome statue. The only thing I want now is a statue in front of I don't care what our stadium call it. To me, it's Staples Center. So put a statue of Kobe in front of Staples Center.
There you go. And, you know, like we've all said, you know, did some questionable things in his past, righted the wrong. And we saw, especially after he retired, just how much he showed love and support for his daughter, his wife, just his whole family, and the community also in Philly and LA. It's crazy to think that it's been 2 years now. I remember last year, guys, we did a whole 1 hour special, I believe, on just talking about the 1 year anniversary. And, you know, we could go on and talk about this for 3 to 4 hours just with how many stories have came out. But it's crazy, too, because talking about Gianna also, right? I mean, everyone was talking to Kobe. He's like, hey, you know, you definitely got to have a boy and come in the NBA and put in some good work and everything. And he's like, and Gianna was stepping in. She's like, no. She's like, I'm going to do my own thing. And let's not forget, she was a heck of a basketball player. And, you know, if her life had continued and she could have kept playing ball, there's no doubt in my mind she would have been probably a top pick in the WNBA. And it's still just crazy. It's been 2 years, right? And it still feels surreal. And like Frankie mentioned, right? Me and him grew up on Kobe, like you and Philly sports guy Jay grew up on Magic and Michael and all them, Larry Bird. And for me, I'd never seen a guy, at least growing up, who had that winning attitude as much as Kobe, because he would do anything, right, to get that win, whether it was tearing his rotator cuff, tearing his Achilles and shooting those free throws, or playing hurt. And it was just a phenomenal thing to see. But like you said, you know, rest in peace to Kobe and Gianna on the 2 year anniversary, and also all the other victims in that tragic accident. You will be sorely missed. Well, guys, that is our final topic here tonight on the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, we go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Saturdays at 8. Thank you to Jay McLovin and Frankie C for coming on the show. Philly Sports Guy, is there anything you would like to promote before we head out for tonight?
Hey, you guys can find me on any of the social medias. If it's a social media, I'm there. So you can definitely find me under the Philly Sports Guy. Within the next few weeks, I'm going to get started on raising money for the Eagles Autism Foundation. Last year, I got just under $10,000. That's my goal this year, to get over 10 grand. So hopefully on the 8th, when I come back, I'll have some more information for you so that you can donate and directly to that foundation. A great foundation. And I'll be running with all my shoulder pads on and everything in March or May. I mean, and it's going to, I did the last one. I ran the last one, and I barely made it through. I tell you, the makeup looked good before.
Oh, not so much after.
While he was live, he was running. I remember watching it. He was running while live, going around throwing people like, "Hey, this movie." It was amazing, man. It's amazing what you do.
I'm telling you, he's amazing. The guy's awesome. He really is awesome. And thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate it. I can't wait to see you on the 8th. It's going to be awesome.
You heard it straight from the source. We'll have the Philly Sports Guy back on February the 8th to talk some more sports. Guys, have a tremendous night. We've been brought to you by the All Sports All Plays Network. Have a great night, and we will see you on Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you then.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so time for laces.